is Roger, thanks for dropping by. My beech tree doesn't need much done to it. It put on a lot of growth last year. Now some people like to take the leaves off. You can if you want. Allows you to see the structure, but when you do it you need to make sure they come off easy, because if you're really tugging you can damage buds. You'll even break branches if you tug too hard. But it is a tedious job, but it enables you to see the tree, which at this time of year, if you're going to do pruning to get branching farther back, in other words take the lead shoots out, it does pay to be able to see what you're doing. So these are coming off quite easy, so I will continue and strip all the leaves off. You don't need to see that, so I'll be back. Right, there we go, a tedious job, but the outline of the tree and where the growing points are is now clearly visible, and likewise crossing branches that were hiding in amongst the leaves. Another reason for taking the leaves off on beech trees I've found is it encourages the buds to open a little bit earlier, because they've got the light, which was all covered up by the dead leaves. Now in the wild, obviously in their natural environment, when the new buds start to swell they push the old leaves off and they drop anyway. But yeah, this just allows me to see what's going on. And you've got things like now I can look at this pad as an individual pad. I can look at this branch here and think, what on earth is that doing there? Why did I leave it? Well, let's take it off then. Better put some cut paste on that as well, that's quite a large wound. Tiny little shoots like this that come out from silly places, take them off. And then we look at the rest of the pad. This bit is sticking out and up, so that needs to go back. So that can actually go back to there, which is an outward facing branch. Anything that sticks up, I just take them back to one bud or two at the most. You've got alternating buds, so you can choose your direction of growth. This is too high and crossing over that one, but we've got one sticking out here, so we take that off. This one just needs to go back. If there was a bud at the bottom of that little branch, I'd take it back. In fact there is, we'll take it back. And then we've got another long one here, which we'll take that back to there. And that, I'm going to take that right off. Let's have a look. Yes, we'll take it back to there, put the strength into that lower piece like that. And we'll see how that goes. You know, you always come back to things, don't have to make a final decision. Now this lowest branch here, to get the overall shape to the tree I wanted this to extend, but now that it's done it I want to push it back. So we'll push back to there, we'll take that back to there so that we've got branches facing this way, and this one I'm going to leave. It's not a strong branch. This one is not a strong branch, but I believe it's a necessary branch, and it's not very strong. So I'm just going to take the very tip off. That's all I'm going to do to that. And then on this lower branch here we've got this strong branch pushing out here. To get that to join the pad, I'm going to take it back to the bud that faces in that direction. Got some wildlife on here crawling around, so be it. And then you've got to think about, do you want any new branches to your structure? Well, that's my front view. Is it my front view, or did we do? No, that was the front view. So you've got to sort of think, these little branches coming out of the trunk, would they be useful to actually form a brand new branch? And the simple answer is no. So they need to come off at the trunk. As I said, this tree grew quite well last year. And again, you've got a branch coming out of the fork there. Well, that's just wrong. So we take that one off. Right, back to my scissors now. See, now this branch here is wrong. It's sticking up. So we'll take it back to an outward facing bud and it can join the rest of the pad then. This one has got two massive buds on the end and it needs to, long tool, needs to go back to there so that I've got an outward pointing bud. That's all. Over here, this one's wrong. Has it got a lower bud that we can work to? We'll look at the overall shape. Yes, this needs to come off. Always look at your outline. Don't just look at the detail. Always step back and look at what the shape of the pad will be like. And this branch is wrong. So we'll take it off. It just makes the outline wrong. So these will now extend. So that's that. More branches growing out of branches in a place that's not of any use. Take those off. You've got to imagine that, you know, those little branches coming out of the trunk will grow leaves. Are they going to look right? Now this one will. So that one back there will join that pad. That's okay. That one's not. Well, those two are not. So we've done here. Now the apex last year decided that I would allow the tree to go like that and curve back towards us and then choose a new apex, which I believe from memory was this one. So this is going to allow the tree to grow upwards. There's a branch there that is clearly wrong, so we'll take that off. We'll have a look at the overall shape now. This branch here is, that bit sticking up needs to come off. So that will go that way. This bit is pointing back into the centre of the apex, so that needs to come off, leaving the one facing outwards. That's that bit. This one, this is just too tall, so we'll take that back. Because the vigor will be in the top of the tree. In the main, these little wispy bits off the trunk where they stick out. You cut them off when they're tiny, they tend to heel over with hardly a mark. You let them get too big and then take them off, obviously you get a scar. Right, if this is going to be my apex, then I don't need this to be vigorous. So I'm going to take that massive pair of buds off. This is what I call vigorous, the size of those buds compared with some of the others. That would open up into 3 leaves and then extend on each, 3 each and an extension. So, and it would have faced the wrong way. And now I've got a decision to make here at the top. This is an older branch. And this is a young branch. I don't think I need both of them. I certainly can't leave this sticking out like that. In fact, that one's coming off. That's the one that breaks the skyline, as I call it, so we'll take that one off. So how have we done then? We've got this pad crosses the trunk line. That's deliberate. But it sticks out too far. easily resolved. Take it back. So that's better. So if you imagine now, what you've got to do now is picture the greenery. There's my dome with a reasonable apex with enough branches to fulfill that. This branch crosses the apex. Take the tip off. That'll extend that way now. Dip it. So that's okay. We've just got some greenery heading backwards so that it's not all coming forwards, and our new apex to extend upwards. This one, relatively flat. We don't like this bit sticking up, but you can't get rid of all sticking up branches or you end up with no greenery at all. That's relatively flat. That's the one that I'm letting cross the trunk line with some greenery. I don't like to be able to see the trunk from the bottom to the top. That to me doesn't look right. At least one branch would cross over naturally. These two branches are a bit close together. And this is sticking out quite a long way, so we'll take it back. That'll do. This one weeps, so this one drops down a bit, and it takes the eye away from the fact that in technical terms this is almost handlebars. Yeah, they're almost. But as this one drops down and this one moves out and sideways, it takes the eye away from the fact that those are sort of handlebars. This is where the original trunk chop was done. This was wild collected, this one, so was a Yamadori. Now here's a thought, at what point does a Yamadori become not one? I mean, the expression means like collected from the wild. Well, it's always that, but does at some point the name change? I don't really need to know. And then the other thing I need to desperately do with this is get this moss off. It's really grown well on this one. Lovely colour, but you know, it's if this was in a media that dried out incredibly quickly, leaving the moss on actually does some good, because it will stop the water evaporating off the surface of the pot. But I just want to take this off, and then another scratch around the base as well. The roots on this are right up on the surface. That's another thing that will happen if you've got moss on the surface. Because the moss holds the moisture, you will have roots heading for it, and so the roots will head up to the surface of your pot, which is not really where you want them. I'm scratching the surface as well as getting the moss off so that there's room for the water. This tree has pushed up a bit in its pot, which must mean it's got a good root system. We just take it back a bit so that there's room for the water to get on there and soak in. Now the mix I used for this was actually not as gritty as I would often use. So there's actually quite a bit of fibrous material in this one. I remember that I'd run out of something, and so it wasn't my normal mix, so it holds a lot of water, this one. But then, you know, beech is quite a vigorous tree, you know. So you have to come back and do that again in the year. It's almost impossible to get every bit of moss off. So, you know, even though you think, right, there's no green left, I've got all the moss, come back in a month's time and it'll be growing again. But you can get the worst of it off. and it tidies it up, you know. Just have a quick clean the trunk off, because where the moss was, it leaves like a dirty coating on the trunk, which is, you know, again, just clean it all off. Next time it rains, that will wash those areas clean. Next time it rains. In a minute, when it rains. I don't think I can remember a wetter winter than this one. Every day it seemed it rained, and sometimes you get up in the morning because the rain's woken you up and you go to bed and it's still raining. You wake up the next day and, oh, here we go again, just for a change, it's raining. A lot of water. I've got gravel beds in the garden. Now they have a membrane underneath to stop weeds, but that has disintegrated to a degree. It's not a solid mat like it once was when it was put down. And I've had the gravel beds flooded under 2 inches of water where they just cannot drain away. So there we go, that's that one tidied up. There we go, it's a lovely pot, this one. You can't see it at the moment because it's down in here. Lovely, lovely pot with that line round it like that. I like that pot a lot. Anyway, that's another one done. There's a wildlife, little spider. I leave spiders, they're useful on trees. They will eat things that are better not left on the tree. Nice predators. And they don't do any harm at all, quite honestly. Another crossing branch there I missed. Oh, there's another bigger spider there as well. So we have wildlife, which I need to get outside because I don't really want it in here. That's quite an unusual shaped spider, that one. Anyway, so that's another one done. This is a spring task that's just a matter of just having a quick look round. Spotted another one that I don't want. The more you look, the more you see. But that'll do, it's de-leafed. I can see my outline, I've still got my outline, and I've still got my branch structure that I'm happy with. And now all we do is wait for it to leaf out and see where the extra strong extensions are and grab them before they go too far. As each bud will open to 3 leaves, 2 and a 1, and then it'll extend. And if it's a vigorous one, it does pay to stop it going too far, unless it's one you want to grow and actually get it to extend. Anyway, that's that one done. Another one done. See you next time.